Welcome to The Dogs Read Again. Today's episode all about leaving your dog, separation anxiety. You're about to woo for separation anxiety, but I caught you. Traveling when you have a dog often feels awful, like you're abandoning them.
Yeah.
But do they feel that way? We're going to find out, I think, today.
Yeah.
That's our big question, and we're gonna find out. Even when you know that they're safe and cared for, there's a lot of feelings. We're going to get to the bottom of all of it. Today, we'll be talking to a separation anxiety expert.
Woo!
I'm also joined by Jess Rona, who is not an You're not an anxiety expert.
I am, actually. Just a personal experience of my life, yes.
Okay, so maybe we have both things covered. We have
the inner anxiety and the dog's anxiety. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're uniquely qualified for this episode. We, of course, have an Adoptable special guest as well.
Oh, that looks like a good dog. That's a good dog. Yeah, that looks like a good dog. A very good dog.
Please join me in welcoming Lilac. Come here.
Do you want a cookie?
So she's precious.
Oh.
So Lilac is a 4-year-old, 26-pound mixed breed. We don't know what she is, but we can guess. And then, I don't know, never find out. But we can guess either way. She's available from Wags and Walks here in LA. Lilac came into the shelter pregnant and gave birth to 3 puppies. The pastel litter.
Hi, Gorgie.
Hi.
I feel like she has like a younger energy than 4.
You think so?
Yeah, but I want to look.
They could be lying. Yeah, she gave birth after coming to the shelter. 5 days later, she gave birth in the shelter. When her puppies were only 9 days old, Wags and Walks learned about their situation and brought the whole family into their care so they could grow up safe and supported, and that has been what has happened since. Lilac is sweet, social, and medium energy. They say we think she could make for an excellent adventure buddy. Lilac can be hesitant when meeting new people. It's probably what you'll see for the first few minutes here, but quickly becomes your best friend with a little encouragement. Hopefully that encouragement includes treats, because we have those. Fully potty trained and working on perfecting her leash manners. Hello. Hi. You're wiry.
Yeah.
You're a wiry gal. And already knows how to sit patiently while getting ready for walks. If you're looking for a gentle, resilient companion with lots of love to give, Lilac might be your perfect match.
I do have an idea of like what I think her breed could be. I mean, I think she's got some pit in her. She has like those cute almond-shaped pit eyes. And I mean, she's behind me, isn't she? She's right behind you.
What terrier would give that wiry?
Honestly,
feel?
You know what? I've seen poodle mixes. I don't think she's a poodle, but I'm saying like I've seen wiry dogs that are actually just a poodle mixed with a short-coated dog, and it becomes kind of wiry.
Yeah. Is the tail telling you anything?
No, but it's ringing and I want to pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
All right. Well, Jess, her adoption fee is
covered.
There we go. Yes, it is. Her adoption fee is covered by Margot Harris.
Yay!
Woo-hoo-hoo! Margot says, I've been impressed from the start with the We Rate Dogs rescue work. Oh, that's very sweet. I'm a minimalist monthly supporter, and I proudly wear the gear and use the sticker I've gotten. I've had 4 fabulous dogs over time, and I'd kill to have another. My husband is in declining health. Oh, I'm so sorry. So this isn't the best time for me to adopt a dog. I want to give someone else a chance to adopt their next best friend and give a dog the home they deserve. That is very, very sweet. Clap it up one more time for Margot.
Thank you, Margot.
Thank you so much.
And Lilac thanks you
for supporting us in many ways, it seems. If you'd like to sponsor a future special guest adoption fee, you can email podcast@weratedogs.com.
That's podcast@weratedogs.com.
That's podcast. All right, Jess. So today's episode, as I mentioned, all about leaving your dog. We're going to get into the do's and don'ts. We have a lovely interview. It's going to be, this episode, mostly going to be an interview with an expert on this. So I'm very excited to learn.
I'm excited too, because I could tell you I have some regrets.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll get into them. I have been traveling a lot recently. I went to Europe for almost 3 weeks at the beginning of May.
Bragging.
But this is bragging, yes. I went to Lisbon last week.
Wait,
for
you
a
went
wedding.
to Lisbon?
Yeah, it
That's
was
on
great.
my bucket list.
It's my first time going to Portugal. It was
Tell
lovely.
me everything. Did you love it?
I loved it. Food was amazing. It's just a gorgeous city.
I mean, it looks
Gorgeous.
so beautiful. I've never been. I want to go so bad.
Well, it's waiting for you.
Okay.
It's waiting for you. And then got back on Sunday from New Orleans.
Yes. For Taylor's birthday.
Taylor's 30th birthday.
It's exciting.
So Javi stayed at the same resort for all 3 of those trips. You may have seen a post we made of him at daycare. So yeah, Javi stayed at a cage-free resort in Burbank, all 3 of those traveling stints. And we made a post because on the very first day, so they encourage you, not only is there like an evaluation where they determine your dog's temperament and whether they'd be suitable for a cage-free environment with a bunch of dogs.
Smart.
Which already gave me a ton of confidence in this place. But they also encourage you to bring them for daycare a couple times before they do a long stint of boarding. Also smart. Oh, she thought about it. And so these photos were screenshotted from the very first day he went there. They have like 50 cameras set up. At any point, you can just kind of check in. Taylor will say it's Javi time, and then we go through and when we're away and we like try to find him because it's kind of a scavenger hunt, to be honest.
He's just sitting in the
corner.
One
is ridiculous.
Poor
that
baby.
One is ridiculous.
He's like, I'm waiting for my family to come back.
Yeah, and then we joke.
I have nothing in common with you peasants.
I give him a voice, and I'm like, my dad's picking me up today, and we're not, and it makes Taylor so upset. Oh. I've never broken that rule before. So like,
well, you were so excited.
I was so excited.
Of your funny bit. Please tell us about.
Okay, the funny bit. So yeah, so whenever we find him and he's like walking next to another dog and we're not going to be home for like 4 more days, I'm like, my dad's picking me up today.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
So sad.
And so the cameras.
My dad's going to be here any minute.
And he's just like
waddling is that him? Around. Nope, but the next one will be.
The next one will be. Yeah,
I'm getting out of here tonight. You guys have a great night.
Not one more night for me. And, yeah, it's.
I would do that bit with you.
It's good. It's a good bit. It's really good.
It's really sad.
It's sad.
It's sad but funny, and that's my favorite humor.
Add some levity to it.
Yeah.
So we'll probably get into it, but I'm not sure if the cameras help.
Wait, what was there was like a big like log line for like the
I said
a recording.
We Rate Dogs CEO apologizes for being awkward at
Yes, it's so funny. Did you write that?
He's behind a tree.
It's so funny. That was such a funny title.
It was good. I love that people really enjoyed it and that it had to do it.
Yeah,
there's if you want to go to that photo.
It's so funny for being awkward at daycare.
He was being awkward. And then obviously everyone came to his defense saying, well, he's CEO. He can not only can he do what he wants, but he's probably just supervising.
Yeah.
These are all his subordinates.
Truly. He was overseeing the daycare.
So again, this place is lovely, but we'll talk to our expert when it comes to these cameras because I have a feeling that it doesn't necessarily help. Peace of mind might actually not be what those cameras are doing. So I would like to know if you have any recent experiences leaving your guys.
Recent? Not so much.
Well, what did you do when you
Because I have 2 seniors that I should have taken to daycare early on.
Because now you don't think it'd be suitable?
No, I think they would really panic.
Really?
Because I get a house sitter and someone just comes and stays at my house. Hi, friend.
Hi. Oh. It's like she just noticed me.
Hi.
We just made deep eye contact.
I know. What was that?
What was that about, Lilac? I will.
Doesn't she have like cool eyes?
She does. Well, I just got to see them. She stared me down like I owed her something.
She was like,
hi. Yeah, you're fine.
Do you want more?
So you do pet sitter at your house?
Yeah, I have just a friend or an employee or someone come and stay at the house when we're gone. And yeah, that's what we've been doing for years. But I told my husband, like, when we get another dog, hi, I love you. I love you. Good girl. When we get another dog, I'm going to take them everywhere. And this is a big regret, is that we didn't take them everywhere and like leave them places. I have a good friend that does daycare at her house. And I just feel like she would... She'd be perfect. She
just warmed up.
Yeah, she just warmed up. She's now like, I think she likes us.
I think she does too.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
It is. It's so rare.
Yeah. I'm glad you called it out. I'm glad you said it out loud that she likes us.
Yeah, she likes us. She would hang out with us.
She would. Even outside of work.
Outside of work, she would hang out with us.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
She'd be like, "What are you guys up to?" Anyway, so one of my biggest regrets with my dogs, and I will do this moving forward, is to just take them everywhere and leave them places. Meaning, like, leave them with a friend.
Like side of the road?
No, like with a friend at a daycare, somewhere, so that they're not only cozy at their own home.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about whether that's an effective strategy. So maybe you won't leave with regret, because maybe that's not like the best way.
I regret it.
Okay, well.
Okay, yes, I'll have an open mind. Maybe I won't, but no, I mean, it's fine. I have someone that can come stay at the house.
Are
you
spunky.
playful lady? Oh my goodness! Here, maybe she'll catch it. Because she seems like she would catch it. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like she has potential.
We'll practice.
Closer.
Close.
Hey. She's so close. Guys, give us a moment, because she's so close.
Because she's so close to catching this in her mouth.
Look at that tail.
What a good sit. She caught it.
Let's go.
Woo-hoo. Good girl. Lilac. Oh. Someone's playing. Look, she's getting playful. This is her being playful.
This is great.
Look at her cool eyes.
Wow.
Oh, so close. Here. Sit. Oh my God, what a good girl. She's so cute.
So, okay, when Wags...
Someone's trainable.
When Wags said that she warms up, they were not kidding.
No. Yeah. Look at her, just focused on these treats. She's so trainable.
So we would like to answer the question, does Javi think I abandoned him here, or am I doing a whole lot of projection? Malena DeMartini is one of the most respected names in the world of canine separation anxiety, and she has focused exclusively on the issue since 2001. She holds CTC and CDBC credentials, and her work has helped shape how trainers, behavior professionals, and dog guardians understand dogs who struggle being left alone. She is the author of Treating Separation Anxiety in Dogs and Separation Anxiety in Dogs, Next Generation Treatment Protocols and Practices, two major resources in the field. She founded the Certified Separation Anxiety Trainer Program and created Mission Possible, helping both professionals and families support dogs through science-based methods. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so grateful that I'm here. You guys are doing such incredible work, and I can't thank you enough for all that you're bringing to the world and helping dogs and helping inform people. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
So great,
we hope to get to the bottom of some of hopefully, I think these are our audience's big questions as well. But yeah, we're very excited to talk to you. Those are some quality slurps. Alrighty, Lilac, we good to go? Yeah? All right, awesome. For anyone who doesn't know your work, could you briefly explain what you do and also how separation anxiety became such a big focus for you?
Sure. So, I started in this industry more than 26 years ago with pet sitting and dog walking and all that. But I started about a little over 25 years ago, specializing in behavior. And one of my very first cases was a dog that suffered with separation anxiety. And I was like, oh gosh, no, I'm too green. This is a complex behavior problem. And yet the woman on the other end of the phone burst into tears and said, I have called 7 other dog trainers, and all of them have said, I don't work with separation anxiety. And I thought, oh my gosh, this poor woman, I'm going to give her 2 or 3 more referral names, and they're all going to probably say the same thing. And so I told her, with full transparency, I'm not the most seasoned. I'm not, the best, but I want to do everything I can to help you. And I did. And the dog, whose name was Guinness, I remember him like it was yesterday, was very successful learning how to be home alone. And I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and that became like, oh, Malena did separation anxiety. Let's refer all of those cases to her now, right? And so suddenly I was inundated with cases of dogs suffering with separation anxiety. And I thought, well, shoot, I guess I better up my game. And that's kind of where it all started. And lots has changed over those 25 years. And so what I do is not only help guardians with their dogs with separation anxiety, I also teach professionals to work with this very specific and complex behavior problem.
Whoa, that's
wonderful.
Awesome. What a great story.
What is the biggest thing people get wrong about leaving their dog?
So I would say the biggest thing that people get wrong about leaving their dog is they assume very commonly that the dog is going to be fine with alone time. And when you adopt a new dog, when you get a new puppy, when you know, have a new scenario, for instance, you've moved to a new home, I think just watching your dog, cameras are so readily available now, right? So it's not a hard thing, or just set up your phone or whatever. Just watching for a few minutes to make sure that your dog settles, you know, within a short amount of time. And settling doesn't mean snoring with all four legs up in the air, right? Settling can look different for every dog. But I think one of the big concerns is that people don't recognize it's a problem until it's much later in the game.
And harder to fix.
And I'd so much rather people say, I'm not sure they're super comfortable. Maybe I should start to work on that now, versus a month or even a week or 3 or 4 later, when they're like, oh, and now the dog is chewing the door frame and howling when I'm gone. And, you know, so to be able to get ahead of those behaviors, I think is so important.
There's a lot of anthropomorphizing that gets done, and a lot of guilt that people feel when they leave. What do they actually understand about us leaving? You know, I love this question, and yet we don't know. I mean, dogs' brains are a black box, like on the airplane, right? We don't know exactly what they're thinking, what they're perceiving. What they have learned are predictable patterns. So dogs that are in distress or are a little nervous about alone time are learning when you pick up your keys and you grab your bag and you know, et cetera, getting ready stuff, that always means I'm going to have this struggle because you're gone. Now, routine is super important for most dogs, really. But if it's leading to something that feels unsafe or scary for a dog, then they are starting to pick up on patterns that are indicated. They're like big neon signs. Yikes, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, right? So I don't know that we know exactly what dogs think, and I wish we would. And why can't they tell us? It'd be so much easier.
Yeah, but it's helpful to say, like, okay, they recognize a behavioral pattern.
Yeah.
Like grabbing your keys or whatever. But I also wanted to just clarify. So you say just have a new pet parent put cameras all over their house? Do you have cameras you recommend?
Have to
like watch the dog's behavior? Because I got stuck on that. I was like, oh, what kind of camera should we get? And like that kind of thing.
You can literally set up your phone and just record for a 10-minute
absence. Oh, gotcha. And then just like walk. Okay, gotcha.
Just a gut check. Yeah. You don't have to like
just see how the dog
for 8
is.
hours and watch for an 8-hour session.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, it's better. It's better to actually just watch for, you know, a 5-10 minute absence or something and see, are they settling or are they struggling? And I don't recommend that happens like the day your dog comes into your house, right? Dogs need time to settle into their new environment and get comfortable. And, you know, we've all seen dogs that are like a little shy and a little timid for the first week or two when they're in a new home. And then they're like, really home. And they really, you know, they break out of their shells. So, you know, it doesn't have to be and shouldn't probably be the very first day. But I really feel like observing your dog just to know. And a funny thing about that is 25 years ago, when we didn't have this technology of cameras and cell phones and iPads and all the things, I used to get contacted only by people that were like, my dog has destroyed the door, or my dog, I got a notification from my landlord, or those sorts of things. And now I'm getting contacted by people that are like, I watched my dog on camera and they don't look very happy. And I'm like, okay, let's look into that. Let's look into that.
Oh, that's interesting how it's changed. How does their perception of time kind of weave into this conversation? Like, do they know we're coming back? Do they, because I know they experience time a little bit differently, but sorry. Was a brief one. I know they perceive time maybe a little bit differently. So just maybe a few minutes on how that weaves into this conversation.
Yeah. So we don't exactly know how dogs perceive time, but you and I would probably agree that when it's 5 p.m. and it's supposed to be feeding time,
they know.
It's like 4:59, and they're like, why is my feed bowl not prepared yet? So, I mean, there are certain aspects of time, if you want to look at it that way, that dogs can perceive. I want to clarify that dogs that have this particular behavior issue, time duration of absence tends to be really important. So as we work with a dog that suffers with separation anxiety, we can build them up gradually over time. And we're doing so through very small exposures, like, okay, 30 seconds or 5 seconds.
Oh, wow. I was right.
Cool.
This is a strategy that Jess shared. So
Hi.
And I was wondering,
job, Jess.
Thank you. She said good job.
I heard. Yeah.
She did.
You could say that sometimes.
Do you want me to toss a tree?
Yeah, a little positive reinforcement
catch
to
it.
Jess. Come on.
I was actually going to ask, so do you primarily work with new adopted dogs and puppies, or have you ever experienced a dog that becomes anxious later in life without like anything really happening? It just becomes, oh my God, what was that?
What did she find?
You scared me. I was like, what the hell?
She just dropped that on your leg.
Yeah, it's like a here you have
a Velcro.
The Velcro-y thing?
She's so playful. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so have you noticed dogs that get anxious later in life?
There are dogs that do get anxious later in life for a variety of reasons. I work with a lot of newly adopted dogs, a lot of puppies, but there are dogs that, here's an example that I see quite commonly. We've had this dog for the last X number of years, and we're living in this, home, and we've moved to a new home, and suddenly the dog is anxious about alone time. And we have to think about that in the context of the dog, right? This is a brand new environment, and contextually, they're unfamiliar with what does leaving mean? What does alone time mean? There's different smells, there's different sounds, there's different sights and all that sort of thing. And I won't get too technical on this, but, dogs, we don't know exactly why dogs develop separation anxiety. We do know a lot about what doesn't cause separation anxiety, but the little bits that we do know about what does cause it, have some genetic influence, in whether that be genetics or epigenetics, and we won't get too technical here, but that means that it can have onset based on certain precipitating events. So perfect example, I live in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and every year we have the Blue Angels, or similar, right? 4th of July. We just had 4th of July recently. And, if a dog happened to be left alone during an incredibly overwhelming noise event like the Blue Angels or 4th of July fireworks, they may associate immediately alone time could be really scary and loud and awful. And so there's a sudden onset. So we can get precipitating events for that sudden onset, but we also have dogs that, come home from their adoptive location and have it the day they are in their new environment.
That's very interesting. Does our guilt when leaving make it worse? Can they pick up on that?
I gotta tell you, guilt. What being in the universe bestowed guilt upon him?
Oh,
well, her name is Judy. She raised me. She's from Brooklyn.
Right. Yeah. Well, my 12 years of all girls Catholic high school and grammar school probably instilled quite a bit in me.
Yeah.
And I think guilt can influence our perception. So a perfect example is someone that is watching their dog and they're like, oh my gosh, she looked at the window. She lifted her head. And I'm being a little facetious here,
of course,
right? Like they're reading into every little behavior.
Which we've never done.
I've never done that. Malena, I've never done it.
Never. Oh gosh. And me neither, right? No, never. I just did it with the fireworks recently because my late dog, her name was Teeny DeMartini. She was a gem and she was terrified of fireworks. And so this is with my current dog. We were hearing the fireworks and I was like, I don't know. Do you see the whites of her eyes? I see the whites of her eyes. And my husband's like, she's practically snoring.
Yeah.
Like, get over yourself. But that was like my guilt associated with a previous scenario. So we're always bringing our previous, life experience with us into a scenario, and that includes guilt. But guilt about the dog, while it can color our perception sometimes, I really think that we have to sort of step back and make the most thoughtful and meaningful choice about the body language and behavior that the dog is showing us, including, by the way, guilt oftentimes tells us, I have to tell my dog I'll be right back and kiss them 30,000 times before I leave and then jump up and down when I walk in the door. And, people oftentimes say, be really cautious with those exits and entries and don't be overly effusive in your greetings and in either direction. And, I am the first person to say, well, I don't want you to roll around on the floor with your dog the second before you walk out the door. Please love on your dogs. Please treat them the way you normally treat them. So it's not a sudden environmental contrast, right? Where you come home and you're like, I'm over the moon, just like, hey bud, I'm home. How'd you do? You're good. Let's go sit on the couch, etc. And guilt can precipitate a lot of those behaviors from us.
Yeah, that makes sense. I catch myself. I was telling Jess that I've had some travel in the last couple months which really inspired this episode. And I'll be looking at, because Javier stays at a resort out here, and they have so many cameras set up, and we'll be looking for him, and I'll feel all these emotions, but then I know, I have a realistic voice also that's like, he's thrilled. He's fine to be there. I have no actual evidence to suggest that he even prefers my house to this place. So I think I've gotten better. While the emotions are like the forward thoughts that I have, they're the loudest. I can often get back down to being realistic about him, because I've now had a couple experiences where I pick him up and he's like, "Hey Dad, what's up? How's it going? I'm good." Almost it's not there. I just don't have anything. He's never done anything that I've been able to read into negatively in terms of his boarding experience. So that's been really helpful. But yeah, it's great to, I appreciate your words on guilt. That makes a lot of sense. How do you tell the difference between a dog who is simply missing their person and a dog with real separation anxiety, where they would be calling you?
Yeah, I think it's really helpful for anybody and everybody to remember that dogs are social species.
This is so major.
Really,
yes.
they're really social species, right? And so if they had an actual, choice, if they could literally vote and say, would you ever, 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 never, never not leave me? They would be like, boom, I get that. Definitely. They would much prefer you be there, or most dogs anyway, would much prefer your presence. So there is going to be some behavior that we see where dogs are going to, gaze out the window, like, is their car coming back, and that kind of thing. But I think the real tell between a dog that is like, it sucks that mom's gone, but I'm cool, I'm okay, is identified through video. And it's not just an instant in time. It's not like, oh my gosh, he barked once, I better rush home, and he's so anxious. It is identified through a pattern of behavior. And that pattern, when we look at it in video and we look at the whole dog, we can see, and I will tell you, I've shown so many videos like this to, both dog professionals and non-dog professionals. And I'm like, do you think this dog is distressed or this dog is distressed? And we can see the tension, the drooling, the pacing, the wide eyes, the furrowed brow, and then of course we can hear the whining and the howling and the scratching at the door and all that stuff, the really overt signals. But I think when we look at the whole dog, we can see what the picture really is. And most of the time, actually, I feel that dog owners are pretty good at identifying whether it is, my dog would really prefer that I be home versus my dog is actually having some sort of panic response to alone time.
What signs is there a threshold with those signs as to which ones would concern you besides the overt ones? Is there like a sneaky, subtle sign that you would say is like, yeah, that's distress, that maybe Jess and I wouldn't be as keen to point out?
So yes and no.
Okay.
Because what it comes down to is every dog is such an individual. And it's kind of a cool, I'm going to give you a little example, and I don't want to take too much time on it, but I have to tell you, every single person I talk to, and I talk to a lot of prospective clients, they can contact me and talk to me, just to check in what's going on. And I talk to, we get about 5 or 6 inquiries a day. And every single one of them says, my dog has the worst separation anxiety you've ever seen. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong, because to them, that is overwhelmingly distressing to see their dog showing such signs of anxiety. And so, yeah, it is the worst in their life, in their scenario, in their situation. However, what I think is so important to remember is that because dogs are such individuals, one dog may be absolutely howling his head off. Another dog may be chewing up the door frame. Another dog may be panting and drooling, sitting in the corner. And all of those dogs may have the same level, or worse or better, distress, because the only thing we have to identify it is outward manifestations, right? Yeah. And those outward signals and signs and symptoms. And I mean, if you think about, like, if I see a spider, I like freak out. But I have a friend that sees a spider and she just like clams up and walks away. But I'd say she is probably more afraid of spiders than I am. That's just her visceral reaction, is not to be outwardly vocal about it. So that severity level is really a slippery slope. And I'd rather people just say, what is my dog experiencing? And how can I address those particular individual traits for my dog?
Yeah, it's a good example.
What percentage would you say are the people that reach out to you that own a new dog versus have a dog that they've had for a while?
That's a really good question. And, I'm a total data Yes. See, more positive reinforcement, Jess. You're rocking it. You're amazing.
We want to hang out later? I'll head up to the Bay Area. We'll get a cocktail. It'll be great.
Okay, cool. It's a good question, and I have to say, I'm an absolute data geek. I collect so much data on all this stuff.
That's so cool.
You know, for purposes of research and other aspects. But I don't know that I've ever looked at, are they newly adopted versus been in the home for a while versus been in the home for a long while versus super
I mean,
young,
I wasn't like
old.
really looking at like legit like actual percentages, but just like based on your assumptions. But like if it's too complicated, I'm just trying to figure out like, is this a problem that happens with everyday pet parents and their dog's super anxious all of a sudden?
Are you speaking like, do you have a specific question about your own dogs perhaps?
No, but I'm actually trying to tap into the person who's watching, like, that's like, well, what about my dog that's just become really anxious? Like, what do I do? You know, because it's really, I would say it's pretty common for a newly adopted dog to have some separation anxiety. But I want to just like be an advocate for the imaginary person that I have like watching this being like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Your dog, here, I'll just look to the camera. Your dog's anxiety is valid, and they should be heard and acknowledged.
And seen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you feel better now?
Thank you.
Okay. But yes, no, I think that's a good question.
I agree. And I agree with what you just said. And I also would take it one step further. It is valid. They should be heard and seen. And yes, many dogs that are newly adopted are going through a transitionary period, right? And yet, if they are showing pretty obvious signs of distress about alone time, I would rather get in there and kind of mitigate that from the get-go versus letting them. Dogs become professionals at what they rehearse. We know this. So if they get to rehearse distress time and time and time again for a week or 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then you're like, oh, now it really seems to be manifesting. We just lost 6 weeks or whatever it was, being able to get underneath the problem a little bit easier. And so I just would recommend that people give their dog a metaphorical soft place to land when they newly adopt. And what I mean by that is not just the cozy beds and the best high value treats and all that good stuff, but ease them in as best you can to alone time. It is a skill. It is a learned skill to be alone for many dogs. Like, many dogs have not experienced it, or many dogs are just unfamiliar with it. Or at best, they're unfamiliar with it in their new adopted environment. And so, give them a little time instead of leaving for, a concert and dinner the first time. Make a quick run to the corner store or pick up a coffee and come back or something like that. So give them some time and space to start to go, oh, they always come back pretty, timely. It's not so bad.
Mm-hmm. We use the term separation anxiety a bunch, but is there other emotions that a dog is feeling that we know of when they're,
having a freak out,
being overt about is it more than anxiety, or is anxiety kind of the best descriptor and it's pretty limited to that?
Oh, well, anxiety is an interesting term because anxiety, there's a difference between anxiety, fear, and panic. And anxiety is, if we're talking psychology literature, okay.
So which is fine. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. So anxiety is typically anxiety about an event that has yet to occur. Fear is about a situation that is happening in the moment. And then panic goes one step further where, emotionally or et cetera. But If I had my druthers, I would not call it separation anxiety. I would call it separation phobia.
Oh,
that makes sense.
That's actually more descriptive, literally. Anyway, yeah.
It really, to me, is, because anxiety is anticipatory, and phobia is exactly, what we're seeing in these dogs. It's what's happening. And one of the things that I think is really helpful about describing it as a phobia is that by definition, a phobia is very, very irrational to the individual that's not experiencing it. So you, me, any dog owner, right? They're like, why is my dog freak out? I'm always back in, within a couple hours. So it doesn't make sense to us, but it is extremely real to the individual that is experiencing it, which is in this case, the dog, right? So it doesn't matter if it doesn't, and phobias are irrational. Like, I'm terrified of spiders, and I have yet, I live in California. Like, there's not a whole lot of spiders that are going to kill me. Well, there's a few.
There's a couple.
Few, and I'm
Only
certain.
A couple.
And they're all going to come to my house.
I think to pivot to some more like solutions-based conversations, it's obviously unrealistic to never leave your dog home alone, or to never take a vacation, or to never go anywhere. And also, speaking of about a show that's all about adoption, if you're a traveling person, that might not even be a sole indicator that you shouldn't have a dog. Like there are pathways
Absolutely.
to there are pathways to get the best of both worlds. So when you have to travel, how should someone start thinking about where their dog should go? Obviously, there's a handful of options, but what would be like your first step?
So I'm going to divide that into two.
Okay.
Because I feel like if you have a dog that has known separation anxiety, like they are seriously phobic about alone time, it will slightly color your decision making.
Makes sense.
The majority of the dogs, though, I think the first step is to remember that the dog gets a vote in the travel plan. I mean, truly. So I know I am easily swayed by like, oh, and they have pools at this facility, and they have doggy play twice a day, and they have cameras, and they have, look at this, the cute bedding on their kennels and in their kennels, and like all the things, right? Oh, and they put their name plaque up, and they have this special. That's all fun, but that is for us.
Yeah.
Less so than it is for the dog.
True.
So I think we're not necessarily looking for a perfect plan. We're looking for a thoughtful plan that fits the dog in front of us. So we have to think about their sort of lived experience in that environment. For instance, if your dog does not like or is not particularly comfortable with a lot of noise and activity, a regular boarding facility might be overwhelming to them. If your dog doesn't love playing with other dogs, having to go into play groups twice a day or however often is not going to be a good experience for them. Conversely, if your dog loves to rabble rouse with all the other dogs and thrives on jumping in pools and all that stuff, having a in-home pet sitter that is, I don't know, working from home and not very active, that won't be providing that source of enjoyment and excitement for that dog, might not be the option either. So I don't feel like, boarding is the solution, pet sitting is the solution. It's so individual to the dog, and just as long as the dog gets that vote in those travel plans. And I really feel like that travel care decision isn't always the best guilt relieving decision. Kind of going back to the, like, my dog gets a special hand-baked treat, home-baked treat at 5:00 every night. I usually say, think about, what would your dog's most difficult hour of the day look like? And if that hour were in this environment, the pet sitter, the boarding facility, the daycare, the whatever it is, would it be taken care of sufficiently to meet the needs of your dog. So that's going to be really different for every single dog. And I really love asking sort of specific questions about like, where will my dog be and how, who will care for them? Like, I love getting adorable, playful pictures of my dog when she's in dog care. But at the same time, like, I want to know, is she sleeping? Is she eating? Is she resting appropriately in between playtime? Is she, how are you caring for her basic and important needs? As a, even though that picture of her like with a huge smile on her face while you're doing, whatever thing, that's awesome. But I want to know some specifics.
That's so okay. So I'll walk you. I think so. The opposite of the example you just gave, where you're getting a fun, playful photo, but they might not be sleeping at night. I have the opposite scenario, and actually, if there's a way for you to see, I don't know if there's a way for you to see the photo. If you have Instagram, if you want to go to We Rate Dog, we made a post about Javier, and I had to leave him at a daycare, and I took several screenshots on the camera of him in complete isolation, and just and looking at the other dogs.
Volunteer isolation.
Yeah, it was on his own. He chose to be there, and I circled them, and it's very funny. And then I'll check the cameras, and he is passed the hell out in a little tiny bed surrounded by 20 other similar temperament dogs. And it gives me so much like comfort because I am while it's funny to think about what he's thinking when he's just sitting in the corner watching the other dogs, he's getting his basic needs met to the fullest extent, as well as I can meet them in my own home.
And you don't have to worry about a quiet place. Because he can't hear all the
And he's
chaos.
also deaf. So, again, that could play a role into how he's interacting. But it's just so funny because what you said, I have the opposite experience. But those basic needs being met in the way that I'm seeing them at this particular resort gives me a lot of comfort.
Yeah. I just was wondering, like, what's your process? You meet a new client. And you said like you get 5 or 6 inquiries every day. So like, does that mean like you see if it's a right fit? And then once it is a right fit, what do you do then? Do you go to the person's house or do you just like have a Zoom with them?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh, you're 3 for 3.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you. I thought of it. I thought of it. And I also asked permission if I can ask because
you're doing great.
Derail us.
You're doing great.
That was lovely. So when I first started working with separation anxiety cases, there was no Zoom, there was no Skype, there was no FaceTime. And I literally would go to people's houses. I invested, this is how long ago it was. I had those big 8mm tape cameras that, you're like, I don't even know what an 8mm tape is. That's how long ago it was.
We're really young. We're really young.
Yeah, and I'm not. So just saying. So anyway, that was a long time ago. So I would drop off these video cameras at people's houses and I would have them record stuff for me and I would meet with them, once a week or so. Well, fast forward in 2009, I started using exclusively online technology. And it was very primitive, very creaky and not easy to use back then. But the whole goal is the dog needs to learn that alone time is safe. So if I come to your house and I'm like, let's talk, let's sit on the couch for a little while and talk about what we're going to do. And then you and I leave together. That's not the typical picture that the dog is going to get on a regular day-to-day basis. And so that's not really setting that dog up for understanding learning about alone time when my guardian, my caretaker leaves from my house with those keys and those shoes and that bag and those things, right? Because they're like, I don't know, she's walking out with this lady that came in that had hot dogs in her pocket and was giving me chicken in between and cheese in between.
I got hot dogs in my pocket. Always.
Hot dog packet. Always.
You got a hot
always. So when I meet with clients, we do everything at this point online. And so I have clients all over the world. like literally in almost every
that's so cool.
hemisphere, every time zone. And and now it's even wilder. Like I just worked with a client in Japan that did not speak English, and we were able to use a translator, like literally on the phone, right? He would speak and it would translate it into English, and I would speak and it would translate it into Japanese. And we did the whole thing virtually. But it's the dog caretaker that is going to do the day training. And the way I do it, as do many of the people that have gone through my educational program for dog trainers, we actually work with people 5 days a week, okay, for over the course of whatever amount of time that it's required for that dog to make some progress. And we use a shared workbook, and I write stuff in the workbook. They do that training session, and then they write notes about their training session, and I write notes back to them. And based on those notes, I write the next day's worth of training, which is, I call them missions. It's a training mission that they do on a regular basis. And so it's this really constant feedback loop. But all of it can be done remotely now. And honestly, I look back to when I had to do it in person because we didn't have the tools, and the success rate is so low.
It seems like it would be high because you're basically training the human to train the dog.
Yeah.
So you have, it's like teach a man to fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Teach a man to fish.
Teach a man to fish. Yeah.
Teach a man to fish. So back to like the, I actually want to stay on cameras for a moment because it makes sense how much value you get from cameras and being able to see the behavior. But when it is a boarding facility and they have 50 cameras, and my fiance and I are religiously like going on a scavenger hunt for our dog 3 times a day just to like see him. How much of that is that one of those like for show things that the boarding facility does that appeases us? Because also I'm not even sure if I would prefer to not see him, like because it is an emotional thing. So what are your thoughts on that? And is it more for us, or are there benefits to being able to see your dog like that?
I think there's benefit. I think there's pros and cons.
Okay.
I think that I am exactly like you, if not like multiply that by 100, where I'm like not 3 or 4 times a day, maybe 20 or 40 times a day.
I don't know why I said that. I've never only looked at it 3 times. I don't know why I said
I was gonna say I was gonna be impressed with your restraint there, but anyway, I think that yes, that having cameras in boarding facilities, or even the pet sitter's house, or at your own home when you have an in-home pet sitter or something like that, I think they can bring us some peace of mind. And one of the things that I appreciate about them is that there is a level of transparency there that, it doesn't happen often, but...
it was a quick one. Please continue.
It was a quick one. It doesn't happen often, but I want to make sure that someone is actually doing what they had stated that they're going to do with the care of my dog.
Makes
sense. So having cameras brings a level of accountability and transparency that I feel is really useful in this day and age. One of the
there's cameras all over here too.
It's true.
Everywhere.
You're being watched.
I'm looking at 4 cameras right now.
Well, there you go. I think the pitfall of cameras is that it is easy, and tell me if you identify with this. It is easy to log on to the camera at the facility, and I don't know, a dog runs up into your dog's face and goes rah, 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 and your dog goes wah, or whatever your dog's reaction is, and you're like, oh gosh, my poor dog is suffering. Like a moment in time, a snippet of time can cause us to absolutely freak out. And that's like a moment in time over, how many days or however long the dog is there, or even just hours, right? And so it can create distress in us, and it can make us, especially because we're so darn addicted to our phones sometimes, like, well, I'm just going to check that camera one more time and see what's, what Javi's doing. And, and so I think it could also, sort of be a little philosophical here, it can also bring us out of the moment in our travels.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good point.
I was about to ask a healthy approach to this dynamic. What do you think that, if you could summarize that healthy approach, is it confirmation that things are going as expected, which could only look like maybe 3 check-ins a day? Well, I'm sure it's very individual, but do you have any tips for a healthy approach?
It is individual. And I think that my best tip for a healthy approach is finding the right person or boarding facility or wherever your dog is going to be and saying, I would like, and many of them do this, I would like you to let me know that my dog has, my dog ate most of his breakfast today. He got to play for an hour. He's sleeping. He's resting beautifully. But fully transparent and authentic. Don't just tell me your dog's having a great time. Like, that's not helpful to me. I actually want to know how my dog is doing and how he or she is behaving. And then the check-ins are just like, oh, look.
They're for fun. The stakes are so much lower. The stakes of the check-in are for entertainment, perhaps, and not.
I agree.
Yeah, they're for entertainment, and they're not out of a need to check in. That's very helpful. You kind of ran through, so that's what a genuinely useful update looks like. And would you say that anything goes outside, like when it comes to a useless update, would you say that's like, oh, your dog ran through the water today? Like, is there anything else in the useless updates category that you haven't shared?
Well, I actually don't think those are entirely useless, but they can't be the entire substance of the update, right? So I do want to know that my dog, who doesn't normally, play in the water, decided to play in the water today. Like, that's cool. I want to know that. But I also want to know the important aspects of, how she's feeling and sleeping and eating and resting and all that stuff. I don't, it's funny. I'm glad you asked this question because you're slightly stumping me, but in a good way.
Well, I think it's also. Oh, please continue.
I was just going to say, in that it kind of depends on the individual, right?
Yeah.
I am happy to read 5 paragraphs about my dog for the last day of her boarding or whatever. And some people are like, dog's doing great. She slept, she ate, she's playing. And they're like, that's it. And, so, and this is true of the kind of clients that I work with too, right? Some people want to literally go through every single eye movement and ear movement that's happening when their dog is alone. And some people are like, my dog rested while they were alone. And that's all I needed to know, kind of thing. Yeah. So I think it depends on the individual.
I agree. I was just going to say,
it's up to the facility to temper that.
Yeah, like if you just want communication for the purpose of not having to check in all the time, you can just say, let me know if my dog did X, Y, and Z. Text me, keep it quick, and then but also won't that take you out of your vacation? You know what I mean?
Not if it's predictable. You could do it like, I want this update. Yeah. It's predictability. Yeah. It's expectation and predictability.
Tell me, how's he sleeping? How's he eating?
Especially if it's
weird.
Delivered. Especially if it's delivered at a consistent time or a time that you're expecting it.
Like
then
6
it won't
p.m.
take you out.
You tell me all this. Yeah.
A few more, and then we'll let you go. Is there anything people should do the week before leaving or the day before leaving out of routine to get there, just any change? Because I know they thrive on consistency, but is there any edits you'd make to that?
So realistically, I think that the day-to-day should be pretty much the same leading up to their boarding or pet sitting or whatever, wherever they're going or whoever's coming over. I will say there are 2 exceptions, sort of, I guess, to that. one, for dogs that really do struggle with separation anxiety, there's a couple things that I often recommend. And for dogs that even don't struggle with separation anxiety, I often recommend that the day that you're going, if you know you're going to travel on August 1st, the first time your dog goes to the boarding facility or meets the pet sitter should not be August 1st, if it's feasible for you. It can start as gradually as a meet and greet for a walk or for an hour or something like that, and then can hide.
She's looking right at
at.
We have you on a bigger screen above you, and she was looking right at you.
Well, I love her.
She's so nice. I'm just looking at all the hair I would want to cut on her face.
No, don't touch her beard.
Oh,
Just a little bit.
Don't touch her beard, Jess.
Just a little shaping.
No.
She's so pretty.
No
so
beard.
pretty.
No
She's such a
beard
pretty
trimming.
girl. No beard.
My
trimming.
dog.
Okay.
If you,
2 against
for
1.
your grooming skills, my dog,
Don't you
would
think-
be like, oh, she just needs some shaping, and I'm like, no, it's perfect.
That's fair. It's totally fair. I disagree, but it's fair.
Fine.
Okay. So really, just I'm saying, acclimating, letting them get the smells and the presence of a new person and the presence, a new pet sitter or the boarding facility, before it's like, and you're going to be here for 2 weeks. See ya. So
Yeah.
I feel if there's any message in all of this, particularly when working with separation anxiety, it's gradual, slow, kind, compassionate introduction to any new stimuli, right?
That's very well said. There are some myths in this separation anxiety world, and I think we have 3 here that I would love for you to bust or confirm. What's the other one? Is it plausible? Plausible is the middle one. We did a whole interview with Adam Savage. I should know this.
I don't know.
I think it's plausible. So my myths. Does a second dog actually help with separation anxiety, or is that just something people want to be true?
They so want it to be true. And yet, there is a small, and I want to be clear, it's small. The research, there's not a ton of research on it, but the research indicates about less than 10 or 11% of dogs that suffer with separation anxiety are helped by the presence of another dog. So it's a small
There's a chance.
amount of dogs.
Understood.
But there are some dogs that are just like, I just need a playmate, man.
Yeah.
And then I'm good. But separation anxiety really is about the relationship or the absence of a human being. And so it is, I have unbelievable video of dogs that, they bring in a foster dog or they bring in a newly adopted dog with their separation anxiety dog. And the dog is just, one dog is snoozing, the new dog,
the other dog's panicking.
and the other dog is howling
Yeah.
and panicking and drooling. And like, it just doesn't seem to make much of
He's
a
giving the other
difference.
dog anxiety now.
Yeah.
All right, second one. So we'll give that like plausible, but there's a chance, which is good to know.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. What do you say to people who genuinely worry their dog will forget them if they leave for a week?
I want to first give them a big, huge hug and
Yeah.
say, your dog loves you so much. Dogs remember their people for 1 week or whatever it is at a boarding facility or with a pet sitter will never, ever erase the kindness, love, affection, care, and gentle relationship that you have with your dog. It will not. Will they be exhausted when they come home and they'll be like, yeah, cool. Okay, give me a couple days. Yeah, maybe, but they will never erase that.
Yeah, we've had reunions.
Beautiful.
I think we did a top 10 reunions one time.
Oh,
and
that'll get me.
Oh, it got everybody. And I think we had some reunions that were 10 plus years, and there was which is crazy, but the dog did remember their people. And again, sometimes like you just can't expect it after that amount of time, but there was some stories
That's
where
so cute.
it was clear.
So nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have a crazy story about that, and I'll be really quick on it because I know we're limited on time. But I used to board dogs. Funny enough, we're talking about boarding. And I used to do pet sitting and boarding before I started, doing behavior training. And there was a puppy named Moose. I will never forget this ginormous black lab puppy. And he stayed with us for 2 weeks and went home. And, I kept in touch with his parents and stuff. And about 5 years later, I was at this place called Fort Funston in the Bay Area, and it's like this huge, it's just, there's millions of dogs, there's millions of people, it's a crazy space. And I had a couple dogs with me, and I have a special call that I call the dogs, and I called the dogs, and out of nowhere I hear this woman going, "Wait, come back, Moose!" And I was like, and I see this huge, now 85-pound black lab, just barreling up to me and jumps on me like it was the craziest. And I was like, and I realized that was the little puppy that I had taken care of so many years ago. And he remembered my voice and remembered my call and was so beside himself to see me. So your dog will not forget you after a week of boarding. I promise you that.
All right. And great to know. Great to know. Busted. That'd be a busted myth.
Yeah.
That's a busted.
Our last one is kind of what we led the show with, the question that we kind of wanted to answer. Do they think they're being abandoned? And I'll add some color to that by saying we all know, like, I have issue with that word in the rescue world anyway, because of the connotation of the owner being an antagonist when really they might not be able to care for that dog for a variety of legitimate reasons. And you also have the experience where there is a malicious human involved and they're driving away and the dog's running after them. And that could be legitimately called abandonment. How is this different? Is this different? Do they know that it's different?
Well, I'm going to lean in again and remind everybody that dogs' brains are black boxes, so I can't tell you what they're actually thinking.
Damn it.
However, I know it's so tempting. It's so tempting to put thoughts in their brains and in their mouths. But what I can say is that for those dogs that are actually suffering with separation anxiety, I don't know if they think they're never, ever, 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 ever going to see their human again or not. But the experience is such that it is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they're thinking I'm never going to see my human again and I've been abandoned, or whether they're just, there's other genetic or epigenetic or fears and anxieties and stressors involved, we don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But it is so worth helping them to learn that alone time is safe.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of myth confirmed, but puts a point, as you said, puts a point on seeking solutions and more comfort for a dog experiencing that. All right. Is there anything that we did not cover or ask you that you really want our audience to know about this topic?
I'd say the only thing, and I try to say this wherever I can, is you did not cause this problem.
That's very helpful to hear.
And I think it's important for people to really hear that, because all those calls that I take per day, the majority of them are saying, I screwed up my dog. I broke my dog. It's my fault. I gave him too much attention. I didn't give him enough attention. I gave him too many treats. I didn't give him enough treats. And you did not cause this problem. I mentioned earlier, we don't know exactly what causes this issue, but we know a lot about what doesn't. And one of the main things that we have studied extensively is that letting the dog sleep in the bed with you, giving him all sorts of treats, spoiling behaviors, if we want to call them that. To me, spoiling a dog equals love. So I don't know, the word spoiling doesn't resonate with me, but giving the dog all sorts of affection and love it's not causal with separation anxiety. So I want people to just take a moment and say, I am ready to help my dog with this particular issue that he or she has, and know that I'm not responsible for creating this, but I can take responsibility in helping to get to a solution.
Wow. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, that's very beautifully said. And I'm sure that's very helpful for a lot of people to hear and very on brand with what we try to do. One of the main values I guess at We Rate Dogs is that people are trying their best.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very,
Absolutely.
It's something to remember across all animal welfare. And I think that's great to hear you say something similar on this topic. Thank you so much for being here. Can you remind people where they can find you?
Yes, you can find my resources either on my website at MalenaDeMartini.com. And if you need the spelling, I guess that might be in the show notes.
Well, lower third, right there.
Yeah. And my Instagram is also at Malena DeMartini. So it's fairly straightforward to find me. And I'm same on Facebook, although I do have a Treating Separation Anxiety in Dogs Facebook group for more separation anxiety focused folks.
That's probably a really solid community to be a part of, because I'm sure it can feel isolating as well when you have these issues, and you're not alone.
Yeah. And it's not your fault.
You're not alone, and it's not your fault. Wow. I'm going to write that in a journal 25 times.
Dear Dad, I'm not alone.
Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you
for having me. It was such a pleasure. And Jess, all the thumbs up to your amazing questions.
And for Jess.
Thank you
too,
so
Matt,
much.
On,
no, I understand. Her questions were good.
With gratitude. Thank you.
All right.
That was so good. Thank you so much. It was so great to meet you. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to Lilac, who has been a superstar and has really come out of her shell, as we were talking to Malena. As a reminder, Lilac here, available for adoption from Wags and Walks here in LA.
She's gentle girl.
4 years old, 26 pounds. We do not know what she is made of in terms of her parents, but she is done with having puppies and would love to simply be on your couch. And she's catching treats like a pro now.
She learned how to do it.
On the show.
So trainable. Such a sweet cutie pie. We love her so much.
Very attentive. Very engaged.
She now knows how to catch it.
And you're welcome, because now she knows how to catch treats. And she's like 6 for 6 right now.
That's so many points.
If you enjoyed this episode, give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening to this, add us to your playlist on Apple or Spotify. And we will see you next week with another Adoptable special guest.
Oh, that looks like a good dog. That's a good dog.